Hey everyone, just a good evening here from my parents' backyard. Today was the spending review from the Conservative government in Great Britain and the ongoing scandal in America of this desperate bully boy search for Edward Snowden, who is now holed up in Moscow airport. There are two things I think in this revolutionary fight we have for freedom. On the one side, it's very much a spiritual, human spirit, higher self awareness of what love is, of what righteousness is, of what doing the right thing is. But it's also a political fight, and we also need to know that we do live in a base world of people responding to incentives, of people trying to create big organizations and religions and governments, and it isn't so much a organized conspiracy that all organizations eventually have a corruption that creep into them and a fascism that creep into them. It's the way of nature, you know. Power begets power, violence begets violence, and control begets more control. And governments want to metastasize into bigger and bigger tumors on society. So don't forget that alongside your spiritual self, you are a political animal. And my advice, my strong advice for anyone who has great issues with the way politicians or governments are running things, especially politicians, because that's what governments are made of, is if you don't want them to be able to be corrupt and to have their snouts in the trough like the pigs that they are, is to stop feeding them. Stop paying them taxes. And it is as easy to say it as it is to do. In fact, it's easier to not pay tax than it is to actually waste the breath to say don't pay tax. You just have to do nothing. And I know a lot of my viewers don't pay tax because you might not cross the threshold of having to pay tax. You might not be that way inclined. You might be self-employed and you write your returns in such a way that you don't pay tax. And the one which I hate the most is council tax, we call it in Great Britain, which is tax on being alive, tax on existing. It's not even I don't understand how they can call it a tax, because it's not a skimming of profit off the top. It's just literally a kind of base fundamental cost that you have to pay to be alive in this society, or they'll come and take your shit and they'll throw you in jail. But when difficult times come about, and they are very difficult now, I mean, I'm here in France and the French economy is about to collapse any day now, like the Greek one or the Portuguese one. Difficult times calls for more kind of more profound and more manly, what the fuck am I on about? More human measures. And the human measure is that you don't give people money if they're going to do terrible things with it. So withhold your money, keep your tax. There's nothing written anywhere in the history books of Homo sapiens sapiens saying that you have to pay a group of men, corrupt men and women, money to be alive. And these are fundamental things that I talked about in my last video from the abandoned house, is that we all know in our hearts what the fuck is going on. We know. And it's abstracted upon abstraction, upon abstraction, upon having to do this, upon people having to like try and tell you to do that. Back to basics. If we're an evolving species, if we really are moving towards something much more beautiful and human, it's time to put our money, our taxes, and our balls. What the fuck am I on? It's time to put our balls where our dignity is. That'll do. And you know what I mean. Thank you for watching.